Hello and welcome back to episode 7 in our Godot Tower Defense tutorial. Today we're going to be looking at collision layers and collision masks and how we can start using our turrets to actually recognize that some of the enemies are in range. At the moment, nothing's happening when these enemies are passing by the turrets. They have no clue. They don't even have a script attached to them right now, so there's no way they're going to know what's going on. So we're going to actually add that all in and get these enemies going in and out of range as part of this episode. There is a follow-up tutorial we'll do on this to actually get them to rotate and start firing, but I figured this piece deserves its own section. It's short and sweet enough that we can talk about collision layers, collision masks, and how that all works. So without further ado, let me just quickly say thank you so much to all those people that are subscribing, commenting. I received a comment from Claudio1983. I hope you don't mind me mentioning you in the video. Just saying that he's enjoying using state charts too. I think it's very good little application that's really helps out with Godot. I totally agree, and that he also faced the same issues with the animations which were popping in and out. I know some of you that are following the series will have seen that and seen me stumble across it. So all comments appreciated. I will try and help as best I can. If you have any questions, you know by now that I put the source code on GitHub, and I will put the link into that description below for you. So I'm hoping you're enjoying it. Please let me know how you're feeling. Thank you very much. Right, so without any further ado, I think I just said that, but let's say it again. Let's talk about collision layers and collision masks. And the best place to start with this, I think, is probably with the turret itself. So if we get into the turret here and we just click on 3D, we've got our turret here. And at the moment, it's a very kind of barren looking thing. Now, what you would normally do with this sort of stuff is attach them as collision layers and whatever, so you can tell if something's collided with something else. But what we're going to use this for is a patrol area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on turret 1 here, and I'm going to just add a child node, an area 3D. Area 3D, there we go. And almost certainly it's going to complain that it hasn't got the collision shape. We'll do that in a second, but let's just quickly call this patrol zone. Patrol zone, that'll do. Now the key thing, and what I might actually do is hide myself from, what did I do there? Control 1, there we go. Control 2, if we're going to here, there we go. I'm using the same hotkey that I was for hiding myself. If I go into collision here, you will see that there are these collision layers and collision masks. Okay, now the way I try and remember this is the mask is what you see. Okay, the layer is what you're on and the mask is what you see. So I almost imagine that I'm wearing a mask and these are the things I can see behind it. And what you can actually do is, if you want to, is you can actually rename these masks. So I'm going to rename layer 2 to enemy. I hope I've got that right. Enemy, there we go. And layer 1 can be path. Let's just rename that layer to path. There we go. So I think is what we actually used on our raycast. Okay, so those are the layered masks, and we might as well do the same here. Call that path. Oh, it's already there. Okay, and layer 2 here. Rename layer enemy. Okay, so it's actually kept that for us. So I didn't actually know it did that. So that's. I don't think it did that in 4.1. Something to check. I think 4.2's got the update now, so it actually renames, keeps the same layer names here and here, which obviously makes sense. Now, this doesn't need to be in anything. It's only going to care about what's in mask 2. So I'm going to uncheck that, and I'm going to uncheck that. So what this is happening here now is this patrol zone is only going to care about stuff that's in the layer mask 2. So what we'll do is we'll put our enemies in the layer 2 here. Right, so first of all, let's just, before we carry on any further, let's just add the child now. Let's just add the collision shape. Collision shape 3D, there she is. And then we'll click on that, and then it's going to say you haven't got a collision shape. And we'll set this to the cylinder shape 3D. And this isn't actually around the object like it is now. This is going to be the patrol area. So I think I around about 3 meters was a good kind of distance, I thought, when you place these down. So what this is going to happen now is anything with a layer mask of physics, collision mask of 2 coming into it is going to register with this here. We can add a signal in a minute to say, right, if something comes in there, let's have a look and see and do something with it. So what we can also do, if we just click on debug up here, you can say visible collision shapes. I think that's the one we need. And if we just click on play here now, you'll see that if I just drag one in, you maybe can see there's a blue circle there. Maybe expand this, maybe that might help. But there is a blue area around here. It's quite big, actually. You can also see the collision shapes that we use for the tiles as well, which is I don't know if I can adjust that so it only shows the collision shapes for the turrets. But anyway, but right now I hope you can see there's one there. But what you may also be able to see is we have a slight problem, and that is that the turret that is the draggable object also has that patrol zone attached to it. So in a minute, what we'll have to do is we'll have to write some sort of method that will actually disable it for the draggable one, because that doesn't. We don't want that to do anything. We don't want the icon to start firing at stuff. That would be weird, right? So we'll look at that in a minute. So here we go. So we've got our patrol zone here, and that's a really good start for us. I actually don't think we need the it to be in the ground, do we? So I think we can make that 0.5. So it's on. Is that on the ground now, or is that still under? So it's probably 1 then, is it? There we go, 1. Okay, that's way too high, but that doesn't matter too much. We might want to think about that if we do have enemies that are flying around. Maybe these cannons won't be able to attack them, so we'll have to lower the height. But anyway, that's fine. That's the turret done. Let's talk about the enemy. So it's the same sort of gig, but with the enemy now, if I can find you, of course I had to disable it as per the discussion earlier on. What we'll do is we'll add another area 2D around this one, and this one threw me for a while. You need to add it under the path follow 3D. This otherwise what actually happens is it stays in 0, 0. I think it stays at the spawning point, and then the area 2D doesn't move with the object. So if you're ever wondering why that's not working properly, normally, like I say, you'd add it here because this is the position that you're moving, but we're following a path. So we need to add child node area 3D, create, and then under here we'll add a collision shape. Sorry, be kind, collision shape 3D, click create, and again this would also be a cylinder because it's actually quite a good cylinder shape, this, isn't it? It's definitely not that high. Quick tweak of the values, let's make it 1, and then we'll move it up on the transform, maybe 1. No, 0.5. There you go. Right, okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. We could probably make that a little bit smaller, couldn't we? What's the height at the minute? Maybe 0.75, maybe. That's fine. Right, so it covers the top and bottom. Absolutely fine. Interestingly, I was getting an error before, which I'm not getting now, which I guess is good news. The warning wouldn't disappear, but it seems to have disappeared now. So that's good. So now we have these as also with their area 3D shapes there as well. So now if we click on play now, you'll see when they spawn, I hope you can see this, but there's a blue circle around these now, and this is rather good news. So if we click on there, and we can see that there's circles in there. So we are in pretty good shape. All right, so the next thing we need to do now is for these turrets to actually have a script associated with them, so they actually do something when the enemy comes in and out of range. So let's do that now. Let's go back to the turret, and we'll add a script. No, not to patrol zone. Don't make that mistake. Turret 1, here we go. So let's add a script here. Turret _1 is fine, but we want it in the scripts folder. Can it extend Node 3D? Yes, that's absolutely fine. We'll click on create. And for now, let's keep those in there. I don't like. Do you know what? For now, let's not keep those in there. We can always add them later, can't we? This turret is going to be interested in when an object enters the area and when it leaves the area. So let's do that. Let's add a node. If we click on node over here, under turret 1, sorry. No, sorry. Under the patrol zone, we then go to area entered. So what it does, if you hover over, it does tell you the emitted when the received area enters this area, and that's what we want, right? We want to know when something, the area of the enemy, enters this area. A bit confusing. The thing I didn't do on the enemy was, is this the enemy? Here we go. If I go to here and then inspector, I need to change the collision to layer 2, and I can remove the mask. So we are in layer 2. This enemy is in layer 2. Otherwise, it's not going to recognize it. Okay, so that's area 3D there, collision layer 2. So back to turret we go. Do you remember the turret patrol zone is only interested in layer 2 under the mask? So what we'll do now, back into node, we'll say area entered, connect. It is absolutely this script, turret 1, and we'll just click on connect, and it creates a method for us. And obviously for now we'll just say print area, comma, entered, and then by the same token, we'll have area exited, connect, patrol zone, click on turret 1, that's fine. Tidy this up a bit, and then we'll just copy that. Area exited. And we should probably put a space there. like so and like so. And just because I'm OCD, we'll remove all that lot. Right, so now, in theory, every time an enemy enters the zone, we should get a message. So let's just drag one in here. So if we look to the right-hand side, here we go. We can see we're getting a lot of enters right now. This is good. What you might notice is that we're getting it doubled. And that's because this draggable object has actually placed itself there, which is most annoying. But you can see they're also seeing exited as well, which is good. I should imagine that probably with this design, it's possible it can exit, and then come back in, look. So some of these can come in and out. But we do have a problem here. We do have a problem in that this is also checking, which is not good at all. So what we're going to do is we're going to just in here, we're going to have another function called set patrolling. And then we'll have a patrolling of type Boolean. And then in here we can just say $patrol zone. That's it. Dot monitoring equals patrolling. Obviously this is set to true by default. If we quickly go to the patrol zone over here, you'll see there's a monitoring tag, and that's what we need to turn off. All right, that's what we need to turn off. So in order for that to happen, we need to go back into our activity button here, and where we create the draggable, activity draggable, what we're going to do is we're going to say underscore draggable dot, what do I call it? Set patrolling to false. Now this is weird because it doesn't know what that actually is. It doesn't know that this what it extends. We haven't used any classes here, and this is what's called duck typing in GDScript. It lets you get away with it. Some languages wouldn't let you do this, but it's saying I don't know if this has got a variable called set patrolling, but it's actually going to let you do it. So we're in a little bit of dodgy ground here, in my opinion, because we need it. Later on, we may get caught out by this when we've forgotten to write the set patrolling method or what have you. So we need to keep an eye on that. So if I now run that, we've got, I've got an error. It would help if I put a colon there. No, that's probably going to fix it. And also bool. There we go. Okay, we're back in the game. What are those? Okay, I'll click on here. Here we go. Okay, and this is good. Right, now I'm hoping if I just drag that up a touch, if we look over here, we should see them going up one by one now. There you go, 5, and you can see down here you've got entered. This is much better. Obviously, if there's more than one, if we put one there and there, we're going to start seeing lots of them. But the key point is this one here isn't doing anything weird like patrolling for our other turrets, and are going to start doing some weird shooting action against the enemies from here or something like that. So this is really, really good. Okay, so we've got our enemies. Now what we need to do is start thinking about how when they're in range, we make sure that they keep them in some sort of list so that we're saying, right, okay, well, we'll fire at them. If they drop out of the area or die, or indeed, reach the end or something like that, then they need to come off that list. And that way we can keep this list and say, right, what's currently in the patrol zone? Let's fire at the first thing that comes in, but if that's gone, then we'll look for something else. So let's just do that now. 1 second. In order to do this, what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to create an array. Makes early sense, doesn't it? So we're going to create a var. What should we call it? We'll call it enemies in range. Enemies in range of type array of type node 3D. Now we're going to hit a problem. And that is we don't want the enemies in range to point to the area that this is coming to. Here, we'll go back to the enemy here. If we add this area 3D, then that's not really what we want to be keeping in range, is it? We really want to keep the actual enemy 01 and the script that's attached here to it. The way I'm going to do that for now, just to get us through this, and it's not good practice this, but I'm going to do it in a certain way. What I'll actually say down here is I'll say enemies in range dot append, you say append here, don't you? And then we'll say area dot get node dot I think that's correct. If we go back 3 levels, so we're going 1. Sorry, no, it's in here, isn't it? So 1, 2, 3 levels back is correct, and then that will actually add the enemy 01 instance to it there. So if we run that now. Actually, well, while we're at it, let's also just remove it as well, shall we? So we should be able to say that. We'll just do down here. So next here, we'll just say enemies dot remove. Let's erase. So we pop here. Erase. There we go. Okay. So now we can see. And what I might just do is a couple of things just to make life easy for us. Let's just change that to 2, so there's only 2 in there. To make life a little bit less confusing as we see things coming in and out. And we'll just here, we'll just say print enemies in range dot size. There we go. Okay, and we'll just do that here as well. All right. Okay, so when somebody comes in, we'll see the node and blah blah size. Right, so we should be able to see things dropping in and out. So let's give that a go. We'll just need 1 for now. So they're saying 1 is there. Now it's saying it's 2, which is good. So I'll just move that over to the right bit so you can see it. This is going round. Typical that it should be designed quite like this, but there we go. So now it's going to drop out. 1 and 0. Absolutely perfect. So you can see now that what this has got here, it's got the ability to add and remove enemies as they come in and go out of our patrol zone. And the beauty of this, a method like this as well, by the way, is that we can actually do things like have some sort of modifier that allows the zone to be larger or something like that. So we can actually use that as a feature for the game. All right, so that is where we're going to leave it now that we've got everything that we need for this turret to identify when enemies drop in and drop out of range, as well as store the enemies in a variable here. We will want to improve on this. This is clumsy code that's going to cause us a real problem later on. So we'll work on that. For now, though, I believe we're there. I actually think we have done everything we want to do today. Thank you so much for watching this. I hope it makes sense. If it doesn't, please let me know. Put it in the comments. I will put a link to GitHub so you can take a look at how it all works and play with it yourself on 4.2. That's what we're running now. Hope you enjoyed. Until next time then, thanks and all the best. Shark out.